Welcome back everybody to another episode of our weekly Moto News Roundup, where this time round we've got a show with a bit of a difference because it's been a while since I've rounded up the main rumours for new bikes for 2027. So in this video we'll go through each of the major manufacturers A to Z to make sure we don't miss any, and so here we go with the best bikes that have been spied, leaked and rendered. But before we get underway, a massive thanks to Breakfree for supporting our news content, and if you've ever wondered at all about this particular product, then there are links down in the description below where you can find out more. But let's kick off with Aprilia, and I think the big one that we've been waiting on for some time now is a new 457 version of their Touareg adventure bike. It makes absolute sense to take an already successful bike, the 660 version, and just make a lighter, more affordable take on that platform with the 457 parallel twin that you'll currently find in their RS457 sports bike and also the Tuono 457 Naked. And to be fair, they've even released their own pictures of it being tested out in the desert, so it seems like it's a case of when, not if. And so surely they've had plenty of time now to get it ready for the 2027 model year. On top of that though, there's also a rumour that they could bump the 660 version up in capacity a bit, closer to 700 or 750cc, just to keep pace with the competition, as well as counteract increasingly strict emissions regulations. There's less evidence of this one, I'd say, but still want to keep an eye out for at EICMA in November. Now, BMW have also been pretty busy lately with a number of concept bikes, like the Concept K18 that they just unveiled last week at Concorso dell'Eleganza in Italy. And I think you probably already know that it's maybe unrealistic to expect a bike that looks like this to actually make it to production, but could the 1800cc inline 6 be an indication that they're about to update their current line of K1600 Taurus? To be fair, they're long overdue a significant revamp, and so this could be another one to look out for at the back end of this year. On top of that, BMW Motorrad CEO Markus Flasch also shared this picture on his Instagram of him nestled in amongst numerous test bikes for what appears to be a production version of their R20 concept power cruiser. This one could be an absolute weapon with a massive torquey 2-litre boxer twin. I guess that would make it their biggest ever boxer, but also a slick looking chassis spec that should at the same time be able to get a bit of a hustle on, so it could be a really sweet combo. Perhaps a little less exciting though, they've also been working on this concept for an electric replacement to their C1 scooter with a roof, but they've also been patenting some of the more specific bits of tech around this bike, like some drop down wheels to keep it upright at a standstill, and so maybe this one is also being pushed towards production. The S1000 XR Sports Tourer has also been leaked as getting a major facelift for 2027, although I will say these renders do look a little bit dodgy to me, so I'm not sure how accurate that particular rumour is. Lastly, on the Beamer front, we shouldn't forget the Concept RR from last year, released as a little bit of a peek at the next generation S1000RR sports bike, and so, you know, it could be an area in which we see some more developments over the coming months. CFMOTO have certainly been making some more significant moves, let's say, over the past few years, but I reckon none more so than their incredible looking V4 SR RR superbike concept. Now, not only did they show it off at EICMA in 2025, but also since then they've released some videos of it actually being tested out on the track, and so not only could this represent a move into a more premium part of the motorcycle market, but potentially a move into the racing world as well. Ducati are currently celebrating their centenary this year with a few new bikes already announced to mark the occasion, like the Super Spec Panigale Superleggera starting at £135,000, and also a repackaged scrambler called the Formula 73 as a bit of a nod to their past. But I think there's probably going to be more announcements sprinkled in throughout the year, and most imminent is the road legal version of their Desmo 450 MX bike, which is set to be fully unveiled not too far away on June the 9th. Then they've also been spotted testing a more aggressive version of their Panigale V2, which is version set to compete in the Supersport World Champs, so maybe we could see a new top spec variant of that particular bike released for the road. And then while the Diavel V4 Power Cruiser did recently receive a new RS variant, well, the base model has also been leaked as receiving updates for next year, with these design filings which have been published by multiple sources over the past few months. Over at Harley-Davidson though, well, they're looking backwards in order to move forwards, with them just announcing that they're going to revive the 883 air-cooled Sportster, which will be back in the lineup for 2027. It was discontinued a few years back owing to stricter emissions regulations, but it is a much loved line of cruisers, and so they're going to be dusted off and cleaned up and should offer a very soulful entry point into the lineup with a new target price of around $10,000 in the US. Personally, I'm a massive fan of a Sportster, so I'm very glad to see that one coming back. But on top of that, they're also working on a new bike called the Sprint, which is set for the rest of the world, but is basically a restyled version of their 440 single that's currently made in India by Hero Motorcorp. For this one, again, the target price is under 10 grand in the US, but for me, I think it's probably not quite got the appeal of that Sportster. But I will say the bike that they've done recently that has the most appeal of any could well be this concept called the RMCR, which is a cafe racer style bike that's built upon their liquid-cooled Revolution Max V-twin platform. That one, my friends, is a real beauty of a bike, and so hopefully they don't just drop it at this concept stage and actually start to take it forward. Now, Honda's big development focus over the past year or two has been their new V3 engine, which is topped off with an e-compressor for a bit of extra punch. They followed up at EICMA last year with this V3R concept bike that shows how it could look if it did make it into a naked road bike, with the thinking being that the e-compressor can help it to achieve higher performance figures whilst remaining relatively economical and also being particularly slim at the rear, which gives it a very slender ergonomic. The most recent news though on this comes from an interview with one of the development engineers by WeBike Japan, in which it was revealed that Honda are also testing a naturally aspirated variant at the same time. So this could mean a more premium forced induction version for their top spec models, but also that naturally aspirated version for the more affordable, let's say, everyday bikes. On top of that, they've launched a couple of 500cc inline fours in China, the naked version and also a fared sports bike, and so it'll be interesting to see if they get released to other markets for 2027. And then lastly, they've also been patenting some ideas around an affordable electric city commuting motorcycle, although I wouldn't expect as many of you are as interested in that. So let's move swiftly on to HUSQVARNA, who are probably still feeling some of the effects of KTM's disastrous financial difficulties over the past couple of years, and so I wouldn't expect a great deal from them in terms of, bleeding edge R&D. All the same, it is thought that perhaps their 801 Svartpillen and Vitpillen nakeds could at some point receive a bit of a performance boost, with them sharing most of their architecture with the equivalent bikes from their sister company KTM. Their 890s have recently become 990s, and so it's not a huge logical leap to see that the 801s could become 901s. And so while I haven't seen anything concrete on this one, it does kind of make sense. Indian as well, though, they've also recently changed ownership. They were sold off by previous owners Polaris to a private equity firm, and so it's only natural to expect a bit of a new direction under that new ownership. Thing is, though, it's a similar story to Harley-Davidson, who are also trying to turn around some fairly poor financial results over the past few years. With a focus that's said to be back on their big cruisers and tourers, the more traditional core of their business, with what they're calling a back-to-basics approach, so doubling down on their best earners. Now, they're also said to be throwing a factory trike into the mix too, but otherwise, I wouldn't be expecting anything particularly momentous from them in the near future. Over to Kawasaki, though, and one rumour or leak that I really do hope's come true over the next few months is a reboot of their awesome ZRX Retro. You see, some model codes have been leaked through emissions filings in the last year or so that have led to some sources like Cycle World to speculate that a new version could be in the making using the 1100 inline 4 platform that currently powers their Z1100 Naked, the Ninja 1100 SX Sports Tourer, and also the Versys 1100 Adventure Tourer. For me, this is one of the coolest looking bikes ever made, and so I'd absolutely love to see them revive something with a similar aesthetic. But onto KTM, who seem to be recovering somewhat from those financial woes that I mentioned earlier under the steady hand of Indian giants Bajaj, who effectively bailed them out and steadied the ship. So that means we're getting back into the cycle of new models, and one that's been spotted out testing, or a couple that have been spotted out testing, would be both a naked and adventure version of their new middleweight parallel twin. It's expected to be a 490 in capacity, sitting above their current range of 390 single-cylinder bikes. Then there's a restyled version of their 790 Duke to pull it in line with the more premium models with that very futuristic headlight assembly, and then also the 1390 Super Duke GT. This one was set for release a year or so back, but then we had all the financial drama and they paused production a couple of times. So since then it has officially been announced as being pushed back as a 2027 model. Now, I dare say with KTM the styling is so modern and on the bleeding edge that it probably doesn't matter to push it back a couple of years, because it'll, probably not date that quickly anyway. But also, the 1290 Super Duke GT was one of my favourite sports tourers, and so I'd expect this 1390 version to be an absolute blast. Now, Moto GUZZI are currently revamping their factory and visitor experience on the banks of Lake Como, so perhaps that'll be their main focus at the moment. But that said, it's been years now since this baby Moto GUZZI was spied using that same Aprilia 457 twin that I mentioned earlier when we were talking about the Touareg adventure bike. You see, they're both part of the Piaggio group, and the 457s are actually made at Piaggio's factory in India. And so despite the fact that they're rebuilding the main factory in Mandello, well, potentially that shouldn't slow down the development of a model like this, and so you never know, it might still happen. And the AGUSTA recently unveiled a more chilled out 950 version of their Brutale Naked with a more road-friendly torque curve, a slightly more relaxed geometry, easier going ergonomics as well. But currently, as is often the case when they announce a new model, it's only available as a very premium, top-of-the-line Serie Oro model, and so usually a standard version that's a little more affordable and a bit less flashy will follow on after a few months, and so that's one probably to expect at some point this year. On top of that, they showed a radical 5-litre concept at EICMA as well, and they specifically said their intention is to take it to production, so it'll be super interesting to see if that really is the case, as that would make for one of the most unusual engines on the entire motorcycle market. Royal Enfield is set for a bumper year in 2027, with Indian news sources reporting that 5 all-new models are set to be released ahead of next year, along with 13 facelifts to existing bikes. But as for the new bikes, well, a 750 twin version of their Himalayan adventure bike is pretty much nailed on, along with a 750 version of their Continental GT Cafe Racer. It's also expected that a 450 powered scrambler could also be on the cards, and their Flying Flea Electric has been launched officially in India, and so potentially that could spin out a few new variants as well. The rest though, especially those 13 facelifts, which I guess will be mainly paint jobs, well, I'm not so sure about, but one thing I am sure of is that we'll be spending plenty of time at their stand at EICMA when it rolls around again in November. On to Suzuki, there are some leaked model codes again, suggest they're working on a Yamaha Tracer 7 competitor, but using their own 800 parallel twin platform. And look, I know there's already the V-Strom 800 RE, a more road-focused version of their middleweight adventure bike, but this new bike is said to be a bit more sporty with a 17-inch front wheel, and so it definitely could make for a really decent middleweight sports tourer. On top of that, they've publicly stated that they're hoping to push into the affordable, smaller capacity segment, which has boomed lately with the Triumph 400s, for example, the Honda GB350, and they do have their own 400 single as well in their DRZ bikes, so the dual sport version and also the Supermoto. So yeah, perhaps this one can be transplanted into something a little more road focused, like for example this this semi-retro scrambler which was mocked up recently by WeBike Japan. Moving swiftly onto Triumph though, who appear to be redeveloping their Speed Twin 1200 Retro, but this time round with a really significant difference. You see, the existing bike is built upon the Bonneville platform, so it's kind of traditional looking with the steel cradle frame, the twin shocks at the back. But yeah, this Spide test bike appears to get rid of both of them in favour of the engine as a stress member with the frame just running around the top, and also a monoshock at the rear. Now the goal, I would imagine, is to improve handling and suspension response and maybe shed a little bit of weight. But you've got to say, it does come at the sacrifice of the looks a little bit, especially if you are a big fan of the retro stuff. And so here's hoping they can get the balance right on this one, because the Speed Twin 1200 is one of my favourite bikes in their lineup. On top of that though, a more traditional looking version of their 400 single has also been spied out testing. It's got a styling package that looks almost identical to a T100 or T120. And so undoubtedly this one would be a great seller. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this baby Bonnie turns out. Adventure bike fans also might want to keep their eyes peeled, with both the Tiger 1200 and the Tiger 900 also being spotted out testing. And the big change here, apart from a bit of a visual sharpening up, is the fact that both of them get a radar up front, so that opens up the possibility of active cruise control and also front collision warnings, and so potentially some improvements for the majority of the Tiger lineup there in terms of touring convenience and also safety. Now, with Yamaha discontinuing the R1 a couple of years back owing to stricter emissions regulations, well, it's actually their inline triple powered R9 that's now their top of the line sports bike. And in the past, the R1 was offered as a more tricked out version in the R1M. So I've seen a suggestion floating around that there could be an R9M currently in the works in order to take its place. That said, MCN interviewed their European president at the back end of 2025, and there were certainly a couple of interesting talking points, with one of them being their desire to bring back the R1. He did say though it would be completely redeveloped to meet the latest performance demands and also the latest emissions regulations, so it wouldn't just be a carryover of the previous gen, but perhaps more exciting or more longer waited anyway is the possibility of a bigger Tenere adventure bike, with the idea being to use that same CP3 triple as the R9 and also other bikes like the MT-09 Naked or the Tracer 9 Tourer. He does give one caveat though, which is that the Tenere has such a strong reputation off-road that they'd have to find a way to do it without compromising on that capability, so not adding too much weight, and also, you know, making sure that an inline triple engine feels appropriate, let's say, for off-road riding. Anyway, as always, I'd love to know which bike you're most looking forward to seeing, so do let me know down in the comments below. And another massive thanks to Breakfree for supporting our news content, and all the details of their products are down in the description below. Do hit subscribe for more of the latest motorcycle news and reviews like this right here on MOTOBOB. A massive thanks for watching today, and we'll see you in the next video.